Okay, folks, welcome back. Yep. Let's clear the table. Ish. We can put some of these colors away. I don't suspect we're going to be using red today. A weird temperature in here. I put the fan on and it's kind of cold. It's kind of warm without it. We, I think, are ready for a different one of these. I'll clean it though and reuse it. But, yeah, some rocks over here. We're not going to mess with that guy at all. Let's go back to working on this officer, whoever the hell his name is. Officer what's his face? Trying to wake up here. Couldn't stay awake last night. I went to bed again like by 9:30. Officer, what's his face? Next time you're pulled over, do that. Hey, what's up, officer? What's his face? Well, in that case, he's right there. You can call him just what's your face? What do we got left on this guy? We got one piece of equipment. We got a helmet with the scrim cover. No scrim. A scrimless, scrimmy helmet. Guy's got a good face, but man, he's got a neck that just won't stop. I guess we'll do the gray-green stuff on him. Green-gray, gray-green, what do we call that? Oh, we don't need this color. Green-gray. I better rewrite this on here. I'm about to lose all markings on this. Green. Gray. And later on we'll be able to tell what color it is. That doesn't mean that it's one of the old ones. I used to put when I had these loaded up, I was like, oh, I'm gonna just put a little tip of the color at the top of it. Yeah, that works good in theory, but the way I'm doing it now works better for me. All right, we're gonna need to put that down, and then the two culprits, black and white. Had to go to, went to a couple of hobby stores, actually not for myself, but somebody else I was with yesterday. They wanted to go to them. A couple chain places. And here in town. And, we've talked about Hobby Lobby, which is kind of the nationwide catch-all hobby place. Plastic models, the plastic models they have there, they have them in every single Hobby Lobby has the same plastic models. They got some car models, which I don't know anybody that builds cars, but it's okay. They even have old car models by MPC, so they even say MPC on them. So somehow they're still in production, or maybe they're in production by somebody else, but they had a bunch of MPC boxes left over. I noticed that, and then they have stuff like they just have some rapid build kits that are already like pre-painted. They have like a Sherman in 1/32 scale already like pre-painted. You just have to like assemble it. A couple of World War One planes that way, and they got like a Tamiya Walker Bulldog, which is useless. It's supposed to be like an easy kit, but like at least get a Sherman. Something was involved like in a war that was a Walker Bulldog even in Korea. I don't think it was even in Korea. So anyhow, whoever's just picking the models for them just obviously doesn't have a clue. And all the Hobby Lobbies have the same thing. And lots of people complain about the model selection that they have at Hobby Lobby. But I'll tell you what, the model selection at Hobby Lobby can be bad. But it's better than this place I went to that the only models they have are made by Atlantis. And Atlantis has got to be probably, well, I don't know if I've opened one, but I would build anything before I build an Atlantis model, because an Atlantis model, they're all made in the USA, which that could be a really bad sign. Like, I want things to be made in the United States, but like quality things, not pieces of crap, right? So, and Atlantis are old like Lindbergh models. So you've got like a heavy cruiser that's like 542nd scale, and another ship that'll be in a totally different scale. So you can't buy like two models that are in the same scale. They're like, hey, let's see how big the box we want to put it in. Okay, this one. Okay, well, let's make it as big as we can. All right, well, let's break. You end up having like stuff at all kinds of weird scales. I looked it up like about a year ago. I'm like, what is this Atlantis models? I've never heard of them before. There's a Vallejo green gray and gray green confusing when painting Italians. Well, I've had this color a long time, and I'm just now using it. So I was a vast majority of my colors I have not used at all. But, I'm doing World War II stuff. So, I like to mix things up. And remember, I'm doing my color line painting. So technically, every color is different. I'm not just painting them right out of the pot and whatever. But if you're talking about like pants, and this would go for British uniforms as well, because the British uniforms color is going to be really similar, in my opinion, to the pants on U.S. that showed up at Normandy, the brown pants. Okay, really similar color. You could intermix the two as far as I'm concerned. The color that they say to use for this specifically is, where is it? Oh, field drab. Okay, but you could do beige brown. You could do frickin' English uniform. You could do flat earth that's over here. There are similar things, and you can add a tiny little bit of green, just so they're not all the same freaking drab ass color, And I mentioned this yesterday. I really don't know how the laundry gets done. Now here's another color. Here's a new one. This is a new Vallejo, which leather brown, which does not look like the other leather. This leather brown and this leather brown are not the same color. I mean, they're not even remotely the same. Well, they don't even have... Oh, because this is game color. Oh, okay. Anyhow, so there's all kinds of different variations you can do that, as far as I'm concerned, are totally reasonable. So... This guy, I believe, is the beige brown pants. The beige brown core color. All right, so we're going to do gray green. don't want to use that one. We want to use this one. And we need to get our pipette of wetness. The pipette of wetness. Been really pretty happy painting on these things. And that's good because I got tons of them. As a matter of fact, so the store that I went to is called Joann's Fabrics. And they had all the man, I didn't buy anything there, but they had all of their lights 50% off. And if I didn't have two that I've had for 10 years or more and are still kicking, I would have bought some lights. But I got a floor lamp here and a floor lamp over there. This is the one that used to be I'd feed it behind my painting table. It's just not doing as much stuff as it used to before because I could almost paint like this. I actually could paint like this if I got used to it. But, because the lighting in here is pretty good. Actually, if I painted in this light, this is better light than I bet a lot of you guys paint in. Maybe not you, Jeffrey, but I'm sure there's some people painting in worse light than this. A little bit of this on the side showing, so let's cover that up in this. This guy's a Battlefield Miniatures, or I'm not sure which one of the Battlefield Miniatures sculptors there are. I thought it was all Drew's Militia sculptor, but apparently that's just one of the maybe 2 or 3 guys that were doing that. This guy's pretty big, like a physically large, a large lad. Now here's a question for you. If you take a word like, people don't get called lads here in the United States. I mean, if somebody called you a lad, they would know what you were saying, obviously. But it's just not something like, that gets used. But that's obviously a Scottish origin word. So are there people in the United Kingdom that would refuse to call somebody, maybe people in the south of England that just don't use lad because they don't really like Scottish people, so they don't want to be, they don't want to take on their little words that they say, or am I overthinking it? I know there's animosity there. If there's, there's not, we don't, what wouldn't we say? We wouldn't say things that people are from, things that they would say in New York. I can't think of any right now, but and there's just words that probably fall out of fashion. Um, like if you called somebody abroad, they knew you were like from must have come in from a time machine. Nobody uses that. Um, Colloquialisms. I don't know. Like pop. Nobody calls this pop. Nobody. Nobody around here. Hey, do you have some pop? I'll pop you in the lip. I stopped into the next store over from where my wife was in. It was a Barnes and Noble. And I realized that if I went in there and somebody says, take any book you want for free, I would be hard pressed to find one I'd want. There are so many generic, they don't do anything for me type books in there that I'd be hard pressed to find something I'd want out of it. Maybe they had a casemate book that's on the Sherman that's not bad, but it's like $50. Of course, like I said, I get to walk out of it for free, so the price of it doesn't really matter. But it looks like it's got some really good information, and it also looks like it's just some of the charts and stuff are printed in a almost like a second or third tier type of clarity, almost like an old Ballantine book. There was a lot of people in town yesterday. We left and they couldn't wait to come back home because there were just all kinds of people in our town. What the hell are you doing here? And that's why the game was on. Lad is a word with a lot of different context. A group of friends. Come on, lads. Bit of a lad. Someone who acts a bit off. I've never heard that one. In the 1990s, women who enjoyed nights out and hard drinking were known as ladettes. Hard drinking ladies. Every time I think, the first thing I thought of is hard drinking lady. Stack all those cups up. What the hell is in here? Oh, the paint that was stuck to the bottom of it. Ladettes. So there they can be ladies and hard drinking, huh? Okay, so that's done. We're going to do let's add a little bit of green. Well, olive drab will work fine. To this gray-green. And the 1990s, yeah, that's the other day. That was a long time ago, but it isn't to me. It just seems like, yeah, last year, right? I saw so many strange people yesterday. And I realized that, for a society in the last, what year are we in? 20, say the last 20 years, where everybody's been, oh, you have to accept everybody how they are, and, and you have to be more, everything goes, and you have to be more accepting in everything. You would think that would be for the purpose of people being more comfortable, right? Like, no matter what it is, what kind of walk of life you have, everybody accepts you now, and you can just kind of be yourself, right? But I have never seen so many, even with all of that underlay of, even with all of those accommodations, people are weirder and more insecure than ever. Like, let's say, you can be whoever you want to be, which at its core, I agree with, right? But you got people with like fucking therapy animals. Like there was somebody there was like a 20-year-old girl or something like that with a backpack with a dog in it inside the bookstore. Well, it's just my social anxiety. Like, we have this society that is all supposedly like pussified so that nobody gets their feelings hurt, and everybody's running around with that's just still not good enough. I've got to be like, oh, I need emotional support. Like, well, then what good does it do? Let's just go back to bullying people like we used to in the 1970s. If we're going to destroy our whole society and be like, oh, we're a bunch of like, let everything go, and we don't want to make sure your feelings are hurt. If we're doing all that stuff and your still feelings are being hurt, then you're the fucking problem. I was, you know, it just proves the whole thing that you can't give people an inch or they take a light year. Problems that you just didn't have. We didn't have these problems in the 1980s, or maybe I was oblivious to them. I don't know. But if we make everything so easy, and then it's like everything's a problem, It's like, oh, I don't know how to step outside because I might get, like, good Lord, man. Let me go get another. Let me go get another drink because I started off with this one at a quarter strength. And I'll tell you what, for people being really accepting of everybody out in public, online is brutal. I mean, there's some people that say some horrible stuff to each other and they don't know each other. Maybe that's like their facade, but I'm the opposite. Like, I'm nicer online than I am in person. Because if you're nasty, you get into an argument, all of a sudden, okay, now I got to work on my law degree defending my position. There's this local Facebook page of the Twin Cities that I live in. You know, they're small, two little towns, but they lump them together. And there's some horrible stuff that goes on there. People just going after each other for no reason. I mean, it's not like they even know each other. Like, go have a duel or something. You know, these posts where, and I thought it was just people in car groups. And thank goodness, as a general rule, places that I go to hobby-wise on Facebook, this really isn't the case. Like, you don't have those problems on any of the DBA groups that I don't really frequent anymore, but when I did, you know, there isn't that kind of stuff there. But you'll get stuff like somebody will ask, hey, they're putting in a new building next to the such and such gas station. What is it? And you get everything from, it's going to be a liquor store to, you know, people in other words being these sarcastic, smart-ass responses where basically all of the 90% of the responses are you're being lied to just for the fact of just having something to say. And it's exhausting. It just gets to a point where, like, you know what? I don't want to listen to anybody because you guys are just a bunch of freaking liars. I know they do it to be funny or whatever, but it's like, you know, you just get to the point where you don't trust anybody, you know? So you have this dichotomy. Is dichotomy the word I want to use? I really shouldn't use words that I'm not educated enough to use. Dichotomy meaning. In Hindi, no. Represented as being opposed or entirely different. A division or contrast, a rigid dichotomy between science and mysticism. What is the example of dichotomy? Contrasting to war and peace or love and hate. Okay, all right, we'll use dichotomy. You have this dichotomy between people where, you know, you have to accept everybody and we all need to get along and be nice to each other on the surface. But behind the scenes on the internet, people are nastier than they've ever been to each other, ever. You know? Maybe people need to get into it's like there's no bullying in school. You know, when I was in school, there was bullying, and I'm not saying I'm pro-bullying, but kids weren't shooting each other. They weren't. It just didn't happen. You know, and I'm not that old. You know? I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's freaking weird, man. I think people just need to let it out. You need to have like a wrestling or whatever. Okay, at 3 o'clock, everybody's going to come out and we're going to beat each other to a pulp. I don't know, or maybe, you know, wear some kind of body armor or whatever and like hit each other with sticks or. It's just weird, man. This is not what I grew up in. It's not what I grew up in, and it's just really, really strange. I feel like an alien. Maybe I am. I got sequestered in the middle of the night and got brought back. And the older I get, the less it makes sense. And it's probably going to be even worse. Let's make this a little bit different with just a little bit more green. Seems to work okay. Be interesting when I get back to doing the Germans, how it's good morning, sir. See, now I know. Now I know. Did you remember to bring your therapy animal with you? I think that's where we're going to stop. We're not going to take it on anymore. Now, if I remember correctly, the cases for a lot of these pistols were really were pretty bright leather colors. Let me go grab mine. That's I think how I painted the other ones in the past. Therapy animal. Yep. You missed the discussion. I don't want to come back to it again. Get all wound up. And and there are don't get me wrong, there are therapy animals for. I think they make sense for people that really went through shit, like like if you're in a war zone or something like that. But what kind of trauma can somebody that's 19-year-old have? Well, who are you to judge? I'm just saying there's a lot of people that are just pretending to be messed up out there. That's all. Yeah, this is what I was talking about, the pants. You got these GIs that have all these variations of pants. And I trust reenactors quite a bit. I mean, they if anybody knows, it's going to be them. Because they're going to be like, well, I want to, I want to reenact whatever. Well, you got to make sure you have the right toothbrush and stuff like that. They're worried about stuff that I'm not worried about. So, yeah. All right, let's see. Let's find one of these guys with 1911, if I can. I think I'm going to use the scrim color, the same color that I'm using for the leggings. So just a tiny bit of yellow into it. I think I'll be happy with that. Here we go. Here's the 1911. Yeah, it's like a red leather type color. And that'll stand out nicely from that. We need to have it bright enough that it stands out from the pants. Okay, and the handle of it. I don't think any of it is, no, none of it is showing there. It probably should, but details that matter only to me. Let's see if this would work. Parasite brown. I mean, obviously we're going to change the. Let's look at this. Let's mix a couple different things with black and see where we want to start off with. Obviously, all these are legit. That's why I like to not use them straight out of the bottle. You can tinker with them however you need them to be. You're right. I didn't think about that. That tells you how little I know. Okay, service animals are fine. That's what that's basically what I was saying. Service animals are fine. Obviously it's like, what? What do you mean? A blind person can't have a dog? I'm not saying that. But just like, I can't cope with reality. Why can't you cope with society, man? Society is supposed to be like accepting of all your weirdisms that everybody has now. Well, all of a sudden, oh, I can't go do my laundry unless I bring my therapy cat with me. I like this mahogany brown. I think I've used this before on a couple of on them. Let's try this. Let's try this and see how we get on. This is a color that I should replace. It's really old, and it's been around the block more than once or twice. Let's put that on here. I know when you're a kid, you obsess about the names of colors are. Well, this is called such and such, so I must use it for that. Now, the people that come up with the colors are, they don't really know what the hell's going on. That's right here. There may be more awareness, not so much acceptance. Yeah, people are horrible on the internet. Horrible. I don't mean you guys. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You go to you don't have to even go to that many weird places. It's just people that just want to be nasty to people that they don't know. Like, lots of people like willing to die on hills and shit like that. Like, therapy animal has no legal rights. Only service animals do. I guess that's my cavalry and cavalry. My cavalry and cavalry mistake. I don't make that mistake. I guess I mix therapy animals and service animals. Service animals are cool because they're always well behaved. And I'm not an animal person in that I don't feel like I need to have a pet. I never didn't grow up with them. But they're cool when you could just see a pet that are normally, like, when I grew up, animals were all, like, they're all over the place. Well, they're fucking animals, right? It's kind of nice to see an animal that's just kind of, like, chill, you know? I respect that, you know? And actually, I don't know that the therapy animals are ever out of whack, too, but I'm just saying, like I said, I was talking about earlier, I went into a bookstore and there was this girl who looked like there was nothing wrong with her other than she had this backpack with like a small dog in it, walking around it's like all of a sudden everybody has a condition, you know? And it basically dilutes the people that really do have conditions. It's all those psychiatrists putting ideas in people's head. Right, Francois? It's like, man, we gotta got to make sure these people think they're crazy so that I feel more normal. Yeah, this is good. Can't wait to paint a commissar. The Russians are fun, especially if they take their own guys under fire. There's actually rules for that in the game. I'm pretty sure. One of the games I play has something like that. Like maybe it was Squad Leader. You fail a morale check with a commissar or whatever, like you get reduced in size. Like da 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 da. It takes out a bunch of guys. A service animal is specifically trained to mitigate a disability. 2, be in public. 3, only a dog. You can't have a service animal snake. Therapy animal is just someone's pet. Do they allow therapy animals on planes? Or is it just service animals? I've seen some service animals I like more than people. Not every person, but certain people, obviously. Well, I wouldn't land me in hot water. I actually didn't say service animal. I said therapy animal. So we can go after therapy animals all day long because they're just somebody's pet. I don't need a therapy animal. I got my phone. I get stressed out. I start, looking at stuff looking at tanks on eBay or whatever. All right, we got to do this M1 carbine. I'm going to go with, where's Mr. Beige Brown? Yeah, it's too close. What about this guy right here? The wood brown here. Let's do that. We're going to have to pull some more of this out and mix it up a little bit because this one was a little bit difficult to deal with the other day. This is definitely on its way out. But I've had this a long time. I probably got this at Emperor's Outpost in the mid-90s. There we go. Before I get started on the wrong foot and not happy with the results. No, I'm not going to do that. I'll just do it on my phone. It's easier to do. Make sure I get wood in the right places. Because some of these weapons that are covered in wood have a large part of their barrel covered over. M1 carbine, World War II. Okay, perfect. That's what I wanted to see. Yeah, most of this is like the Grand. Most of this is covered in wood, and it sits inside of it. It's got that wooden covering on it. Keeps you from burning yourself. Keeps you from dinging the barrel too. Okay. Like I said yesterday, if you had to fire any of these weapons without your protection, that would be my choice. I've fired one before, and I swear, I'm pretty sure I used ear protection. I'm pretty sure they're less loud than a pistol. In the UK, therapy animals, therapests, that's a good name for them, are trained with their handler. They're mainly used in care homes, hospitals, and even universities to calm students during exam time. Yeah. Maybe the exams are too stressful. I don't know. If you need service animals to calm students, you either need students with better skills or maybe exams that aren't so stressful. And I'm just saying, it's kind of like the same thing. Like, if you go to work and all of a sudden you've got to take medication to deal with work, that job needs to be less stressful. I'm not going to take fucking drugs just because you made the working conditions at my job insane. I'm just not going to fucking do it. I'll get another job. I'm not going to do it. It's wrong on principle. And besides, I wouldn't need to take freaking drugs while I'm at work. Just let me have a fucking drink. I don't need. Alcohol cures all my any kind of stress issues I may have. And I never drink. I never do. I like to talk about it, but it doesn't cure anything. Just a momentary. But seriously, I'm not going to be like, oh, you got to take this stuff to to deal with the stress of work. No, my employer needs to make the working conditions more fucking reasonable. Or maybe hire some more people. My philosophy is that everyone is somewhere on the spectrum. If I get America because there's a dog in a hospital, I'm suing. Merca. If I get Merca, no more suing. No more suing, Francois. We need to have more duels. You get one therapy miniature model vehicle DBA stand. Well, that would actually give me a use for DBA stands. You take with you everywhere. What are you taking? All right, let me reword your question. If I have one thing that I've made that makes me feel better, I don't know that any of them. If somebody says, "Hey, what's your favorite thing you've made?" I don't know that I have one. Probably Odago. MRCA. Okay. Is that one of those diseases? That's a science question. I'm not here for science. I'm not going to be able to give you any of those pie wedges with science. Call me in for history and geography. That's where I come in. Especially geography. Unless you get some kind of a queer question like, what's the national dish of Pakistan? Like, who the fuck cares? You know? Do the Pakistanis live in the UK? Because if it is, then it's beans and toast. I don't know what the freaking national dish of it was. Bangladesh. That's a legitimate question I got one time. What's the national dish of Bangladesh? I don't know. It's probably not freaking cow. Not the wolf. Yeah, where is he, anyways? Where is he? The sad thing is, I thought at one time that was a good paint job. And the sad thing is, that's a better paint job than some people do. I think that's the first thing I ever dry brushed. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. You know, that's it. Therapy wolf. Odago. I miss that guy. I'm a lot happier not doing all that shit, though. It gets really frustrating. You do a lot of stuff for people, and then they don't respond in kind by showing up. And I don't mean the three or four, just the 3 or 4, 6 loyal people that we had. It's all the other people. Yeah, I'll be there, and then they're not there. At least say, hey, I'm not coming. That's just, I mean, we all have faults, and my fault is not saying I'm going to do something and then don't do it. Just say maybe, or go like, I don't know, or, you know. Don't let your mouth write checks, your ass can't cash. You know, don't be that way. I'd rather be known as a lot of other things, like an asshole, you know, oh, this guy's got no tact. I'd rather be that guy than somebody, yeah, that guy lies all the time. Nope, that's not me. No, because once you start lying to people, you're basically a liar. And now you can't be trusted. Well, is this one of his lies again? I guess that's the magazine is showing right there. It's not very clear. I like these miniatures, but sometimes they don't. They're a little shifty. What's your What's your security blanket miniature? We don't. You don't need to be on, man. You're gonna drain my battery. And my battery has a good life, but I may need it. This has gotten way too watery. Let's open you up. Well, I had another evening of wild night party animal here and went to sleep at 9:30. I couldn't take it anymore. I said if I don't start doing my If I'm going to do a nighttime show and it's not already rolling by 8, I'm not going to be able to get it up off the ground. Okay, that's enough of that. I may have to tinker with it a little bit once we got some more things in play. But that's enough of that showing until we can do his face. So let's do this guy in the face. Security blanket model is an old, large lead model heavy enough to bludgeon my attacker with. I probably have some models that are substantial, unpainted, and painted, but I have a substantial amount of models, probably unpainted, that have a high amount of lead in them. Those those 234s. Um, those 234s that I um, have a quite a bit of lead in them by Skytrex. Skytrex slash. God, I still have a whole bunch of them to do. I said I was going to do some airbrushing this weekend. It didn't happen yesterday. I'm busy doing other stuff. What's the name of it? What's the name of that manufacturer? They're right over there. I want to pull them out. I'm about ready to do a 3-color camouflage on some of them. You know, the stuff that they used in the 1941 stuff. Well, and earlier, but I got the Russian colors for that. I'm about ready to do that. I'm out of RAM. I forget what the hell it is. They're all 176 scale. Which is funny because Miniature Tanks Company makes a 234 recovery vehicle, which I don't have one, and I'm probably going to get one the next order I put in with them of that. And I'm probably going to get it in 176th because all of my 234s are 176th. You know, one's an armored recovery vehicle. It looks like the same size, you know, on the same chassis, but significantly larger. Well, not significantly larger, but larger. I was reading something on the M1 carbine yesterday, and it said, you know, it's a lot of people threw away their Grands for the carbine because, at obviously the Grand's got a lot more stopping power, but the carbine was just fine at the under 200-meter engagement ranges. I'm like, oh, that's good because even on an 8-foot by 8-foot board in 1-to-1 scale, It's 200 meters across, so yeah, it's point blank range. But and then it said that Audie Murphy's personal weapon was a carbine. But I don't think that. Actually, I don't know. Didn't he do most of his stuff with a 50 caliber? You hauled off a bunch of people. He was like a. Well, I don't want to talk about it. I really don't know anything about it. But held off a bunch of people with a 50 caliber. Wasn't he on a tank destroyer or something like that? I want to say DBA spear in the eye will drop most people. That's true. One of my first trips that I took to Historicon, I flew, and I brought my Romans with me, and I had my Old Glory 15 millimeter Triarii, which did not come with any weapons. So most people use those little, we'll call it piano wire, but it's not piano wire, but wire, basically. The problem with wire is that the edge is actually jagged. So you think it's squared off, but you can poke yourself in the skin and stuff with it. And it's hard to file down because it's so damn small. So what I just use is like either pins or needles. You know, they all come they taper to a point, and then you can file that point down. And then, you know, if your hand clips it, you don't draw blood. You don't want to fall on it, but you don't draw blood. And they turned out pretty well. I'm happy with how they turned out. You paint a fake point at the end, and I'm really happy with it. And I'm getting ready to go through TSA, and I realize, oh shit, I've got 2 stands of Triarii. I got 8 figures with these needles that are about this long. I hope I can get through freaking security. And I did, you know, but it made me think about that. I hate going through TSA. I hate going through TSA. I don't like to fly. I'm scared of flying, but it's not because of terrorism. It's because it's a steel fucking bird, you know? And I like being in control. I had bad experiences with turbulence as a kid, and I'm still scarred. I guess I should get a therapy animal. No, my fear of flying is cured real easy with a therapy bottle. But I don't get airsick or anything, you know. That would be terrible. If anytime you got on a plane, you'd have to use an air sickness bag. Like, I got a cast iron stomach. Ain't nothing's. I don't throw up because of shit like that. I'm just fucking scared, man. I'll look out the window. It's not like I'm like, I can't see, you know. And last couple times, when I fly with the girls, I don't even have to drink, you know. They're my lucky charms, so. The last couple times I've flown, though, there's been some people that have been on the plane that have gotten a little too irate. And I'm like, you're not going to act out on a plane I'm on. That's just not going to happen. We got enough problems flying through the freaking air on this steel bird to worry about you being a nuisance. We're going to need sunny skin tone. I have to say that slowly. Because it's a hard one. All right, we're going to do his helmet now. I'm going to take this olive drab that's still out here, add a little bit of black to it. That's what we're going to put on the helmet. And then we'll add the scrim net on top of it. The roughage. As impractical it is to put the rank on the helmet, on the back of it, and so your own guys can tell you, can see you. I like how that looks. It's just a little something. Let's go ahead and do the legging. God, it seems so weird to call these things leggings. Like, oh, you got some new leggings for my troops. I said, oh, so you're using females? No, my men wear leggings. I'm like, it's not my kind of army. But that's what these things, I guess, are called. I thought they were called something else. The little covers for the boot. They seem that seems extremely impractical. Maybe having these things like come loose and entangle your feet at the wrong time. And all figure manufacturers have, or sculptors, I guess, have different styles of representing different things. This particular one likes to make feet really big. Almost awkwardly so. That's okay, it doesn't bother me too much. these little laces that are on one side of them aren't molded really well. Okay, so which one of these colors are we going to want for the scrim part? Let's start off not at the very top. That's what we want to be. I don't know that I want to make it any brighter than that. Maybe a wee bit. Okay. Cool. That ceramic coat brown you have, third row up, far right cube, is the base coat I use for leather. Third row up, 1, 2, 3, okay? Far right cube, center bottom. This one? Yeah. Dark chocolate. Yeah, this is an Americana. You know, the folk art is so much better. The folk art is so much better. But, yeah, I use these for trade. I could paint with them also. It's funny, I'm using this coat of arms, this color. It's not covering really well. So every paint's different, you know. Probably one of the things I'll dislike the most about these is they take up a lot of space. But that's what this area is for. I can be more wasteful with them and not worry about them so much. Not lose so much sleep over it, you know. You picked that color out of a lineup, huh? Oh, hold on, I put it back in the wrong place. I don't want to confuse you. We had it here. Okay. Half of these are on their way out. These are ones that my daughter got some of these also when she was painting, like with her friends and stuff. So I've commandeered them because she'll do that shit more. But some of these are like all these whites, like half of them are like, oh, I just have a hard time just committing and throwing the damn thing away. I have commitment problems. Hard to make a decision. All right, what do we got left on him? Well, we have his boots to do. We have his chin strap and the metallic bit. Well, let's go ahead and do the chin strap. And I do like doing these GIs because, by and large, they're drab, but it's an opportunity to make something looks. Same thing with the Shermans. It's an opportunity of making something drab look interesting. Let's. I'm good with this as a base color. Just needs to be different enough from the face that it stands out. Contrast is the name of the game. And I'm fine just adding lightening it at this point. Yeah, there we go. All right. Now the ammo box for the carbine. Just add a little bit of something there so it's not all just one drab color. I wonder if anybody liked those what did you call them, Jeffrey? Those Citadel paints with the hard plastic, like little octagon tops. Those were terrible. That should be good enough. I know we still got boots to do. Let's move on to that. Leather brown works fine for me. Always leave the boots last because that's the part that I end up scuffing up as I twist this figure around and rub off the base color. It's almost always at the bottom. This is getting that little tip thing at the end, which I solved by just cutting the damn thing off. It's not like it's an expensive brush. And eventually, because of that, after much use, they end up turning into dry brushes. Dry brush brushes. I don't like the fact that they have changed their formula again. Yeah. The fact, what's really frustrating with them is that I think they hit the nail on the head right. While I don't know if there was anything that they made before the first generation ones, before these. But just stick with this. I love this. This is like perfect. You know, the only complaint I have about this, and it's not much of one, is this little hinge breaks. But that's it. These paints are great. Oh, we got to cut corners. Okay, so charge more for them. But don't change your formula. Make things like, you know, like you made a good product and then it's shitty now and you charge more for it. Oh, and you get less of it. I just don't understand that mentality. I went on some page and I basically said that, and they're like, "Oh, you're Games Workshop bashing." Well, look, you changed your ways. I was a loyal supporter of you. You decided to change your ways. So, if I'm disloyal, well, then you know, I'm not here to put up with your nonsense. You know, can't patent that bottle lid though. Okay, this guy's basically done. See if I can get a snapshot of him. It'll look better when it's sealed, but. Guy looks weird at this angle. And he also looks really washed out. There we go. Looks pretty good. And we gotta find who this guy's gonna be. I don't think I'm gonna use any of those names. I got a whole host of them though. He could be a Kavanaugh. He looks like a Kavanaugh. Let me give him a Kavanaugh. It's a long name. And somewhere it'll fit. Let's try that. Where's my So I had an incident with one of my figures that I did yesterday that's never happened to me before. And when I was doing it, I was really concerned about not making one mistake, so I made a different mistake. And I don't want to go into details because I do illustrate all of my mistakes, but it gets, really old, like, hey, you should have done this. Well, I know shit I should have done that. So I won't do that again. But anyways, I added too much of what I normally do is I add the lacquer, the paint on lacquer thing. And I've noticed in the past, like, it doesn't matter how thick you put it on, it works well. What you can't do is you can't brush it. It dries really fast on the brush. You can't, like, brush it and it be starting to set because you'll pull all this paint off. And I didn't do that. I was so worried about doing it that I laid it on too thick, and my one figure is a little dull in a couple places. And I'm bummed out about it. And I may be okay dealing with it. I've just decided, well, I'm just keep going, because I don't want to get more. And that's funny because that's not really something I experience because that never happens. I've painted, if you count all the DBA figures, I've painted thousands of figures. It's the first time it's happened. So I think what I'm going to do moving forward is I'm going to seal them first with brush on matte varnish, and then I will go over with the thicker stuff because I'm just so concerned about, I don't want to throw away 2 hours of my work, so, and half of the figure looks okay, and the other half's kind of, it's just a little too dull. So, because I laid it on thick because I didn't want to anyways, I'm doing it and I'm realizing I'm doing it, but hey, we're all going to make fucking mistakes. It doesn't look that bad. It looked a lot better before I sealed it. So, and that's kind of a bummer. It's kind of like, hey, you made this great paint and then you decided to change your formula and now it's in shitty bottles. It's kind of like that. Except I'm not charging you guys any money for it. And they kind of put me in a bad mood for a good part of the day yesterday. But that's just something I just normally don't experience. I don't normally get done with something and go, man, this isn't very good. I'm new to that kind of disappointment. But that's okay. We won't make that mistake again. And it only happened on one figure. And it's not that bad. And if it really bothered me, I could repaint those parts. So. Let's make sure this nameplate fits on here. We've got plenty of room for it. I'm gonna go ahead and glue it. Steve Rogers? No, come on, man. Gotta be more original than that. These are real heroes, not some make-believe shit. Oh, hold on. I'm fucking doing this wrong. I better be careful. Nah, I'm fine doing this. I still have to seal them. Okay. All right, who's up next? Oh yeah, the guy's on his knees. I don't mean that to be rude. I'm just saying literally, he's on his knees. I don't think I even have a Rogers yet. A Rogers last name. This guy, this is actually a really good figure. I don't know that we're ready to do him yet. I'm gonna go to the little boy's room. I'll be right back. I think I'm gonna do the Zook guy. The Zookster. Be right back. And Zook has a partner. That also has a carbine. And these guys are all going to get painted, so. We also have some pretty poor figures. This guy almost looks like a secret agent or some shit like that. I don't know what that guy's deal is. Let's do the Zook guy. Yeah, he's got a nice 1911. So that I gotta take a picture of this guy. Show you what. This is why I love this. This sculptor is just like freaking the best. And you can't tell more of it because it's kind of far away, but no, it's kind of can't tell because it's black. So let me see if I can take a picture of this, and let's tinker with this and add a lot more contrast. Light balance, brightness. Yeah, let's expose the shot of this thing. Okay, I don't know if and this isn't super clear, but you can see not only does he got a 1911 in the holster, it's got a button on the end of it, and it's got the butt of the 1911 sticking out. Like it's got just really nice detail. And you can tell the way that he does his leggings on the U.S. soldiers almost looks like something reminiscent of, God, I want to say Beetle Bailey does boots. The cartoon does boots like that, where they taper to the angle and to the ankle and they come out. As opposed to like, we're just really big hams like that guy's got. I don't know, I really like his sculpting style. I remember, I haven't looked that one up. Beetle. No, well the front of the Beetle Bailey boots are definitely, they come out like that. It reminds me of that. I don't know that the anyhow. All your toy soldiers are real heroes, not make-believe shit. So all of your names, a specific accurate list of a specific unit, nah, they're just random names. But I go in there and I look at 1940s servicemen, because there might be names that are common now that wouldn't be common in the 1940s. So I try to take that into consideration. Like when I was doing my Italian Americans, I don't care about Italian American names now. I want like ones from the 1940s. Is it really important? It is to me. It's just a way of immersing yourself a little bit in it. So, it's just my ID. So when you pull the guy out, you know whose turn it is. That's who it is. And then eventually, build up a reputation. Hopefully. Now, some of the American helmets that this guy does look a little Soviet, just a little bit. The Soviet helmet's similar, but at the ear point it dips down a little bit, and some of these aren't exactly. Maybe I'm just imagining it. I'm just doing too much coke. So I have a whole list of names. And this guy's actually, I think, the best looking bazooka guy. I got two other bazooka guys, and they're weird. The way they're holding, oh, that was easy to find. I'll show you what I mean by them. And these actually might be more accurate, but they look weird to me. Okay, here's an example of three different sculptors on a bazooka guy. Let's see, let's grab something I can put these guys on top of and take a photo. Let's see this. Now the combat miniatures guy's the only one that's prime black. These other two aren't primed. So, hopefully I'm not going to pee on somebody's cornflakes, but hey, it's just my opinion. If you have a different opinion, good for you. I know I should build all three of them eventually. Now I like them all. Okay, so the one that's in the middle is the Combat Miniatures one, sculpted by Dave Alsop. And, you know, my favorite sculptor, easily. He just has a unique look about his stuff. The other two are both battlefields. And I want to say they're from two different ranges. But there's some differences to them. I mean, there's the barrels on both of them flare out, and I don't care if they're inaccurate or not. You know, I'm going to paint them as the sculptor did them. But the sight that you look through, well, it's not on Dave's. The sight's not even visible. These other ones have a pronounced sight, but man, it's sitting way back to the back of the bazooka, especially on this figure. It just seems out of place, but I'm not going to modify it. I mean, it is what it is. Of these, the one that I dislike the least is this one. And his helmet is just almost a little too minimalist. This style, and I have a feeling that that is Andrew's sculpt. I have a feeling it's Andrew's sculpt. I believe that's his style. I didn't take the class where I can tell the difference between the two of them, but this particular sculptor has some great freaking faces. Now, which is the same sculptor that did my Kavanaugh figure. Their faces are really, really easy to paint. He doesn't have a bad face, but his helmet's a little minimalistic. As opposed to this guy has a really, really good face. You know, you can tell it from that angle, but his face is really good. And of course, all of the Dave Alsop's faces are incredible. But I'm going to do all three of them. Some of these guys are better than others. I got a guy that's really, really poor, I think. I don't really want to do a head swap on him. I don't have the confidence to do that yet. I don't have enough spares that I feel comfortable with, especially for figures that aren't manufactured anymore. But I got a squad leader type guy that's carrying a grease gun. He's kind of at a trot. He's got it pointing down, and the helmet that he has is extremely close fitting to his head. It almost looks like something Evel Knievel would wear. It has that kind of a thing to it. It just doesn't seem right, but we'll make the most of it. But that's three bazooka guys that look significantly different from each other. I don't have any bazooka guys painted yet. So, and like this guy would go with somebody like this as an assistant. Even though this guy's You know, I gotta give this guy a reason to be on his knees. Don't go there. But you know, we got a war to fight. There's got time for being on your knees. But he doesn't have any like bazooka round equipment. Well, this guy doesn't either, and he has literally a round in his hand. He's got a rocket in his hand, and like he just brought one. Okay, I've got one here. You know, he doesn't have like a little box or anything on him. Yeah, so let's do the bazookaneer guy here next. And fortunately, I don't have Fortunately, I don't have any FAA figures in American, so I don't have any figures that are like, oh, I don't want to use these guys. Because I am not an FAA fan. Especially their faces. And some of their rifles. The rifles just look like freaking tubes. Now, some of this stuff is better than others, but some are just not very great. Alright, I've waited long enough. I'm going to go ahead and give this guy a matte varnish on him, brush paint it. And hopefully I don't fuck this up. Well, if I fuck it up, guess who's got to pay the bill? Me. So. But the lacquer varnish works great. The problem is that it is so strong that it'll pull the paint off of other layers if it gets sticky, and it doesn't take long for it to get sticky. Leave this guy alone. Off you go then. God, he's got a good face. Well, this guy's going to be Murphy. Oh, would Murphy fuck up now? We're going to use flat earth for the base color of this pants. And we're going to need more black and more white. How's this tip doing? And it started to making a left turn at Albuquerque. Call in the Murph. Murph the Smurf. A little bit of flash. And the figure there. You're just being difficult. There we go. And I'm not going to bother priming over that. The problem is anything like that, it's getting a place where it's not going to come in contact with you scuffing it up with your hand by handling it. It's in some crevice. All right. Let's add more of this flat earth to it. That is the base color, so we're going to come over here and add some white to it. I thought this was new white that I put down. You don't need very much. And just a little bit more. I actually did change my mind a little bit. This silver's distracting me just a wee bit. Just a wee bit. So this is the khaki color. I just replaced my old one. This is the old one. I bought a new one yesterday. We're gonna try that one out. This is super old. I'm struggling with it a little bit. M41 jacket gets in this color. This guy actually has his straps that go underneath his little shoulder tabs. Well, where the hell Marcus is this weekend? I want to know if he got his order in yet from the guy that's supposedly reproducing these particular molds, because these have been passed around like nobody's business. Used to be made by Combat Miniatures, and then they were made by some guy in Tennessee. Then they went back to, I think, Stonewall or something like that. And there's some big controversy, and now supposedly there's somebody in Pennsylvania that makes them now. Varsity something or another. Is it Varsity? Victory something, I don't know. I can never remember. But man, you've been having a hard time pulling off this effect I want, but at least I've finally gotten to where it's called good enough. Yeah, just keep getting better every time you do it. You need to be more pleased with your work every time you do it. You know, you don't want to get discouraged, because nothing good comes from that. From discouragement. Whew! God. Go ahead and put the goop on the stand. At some point, everybody's got to say, good enough. Ultimately, you're probably the only one that cares, you know? Like, I'm the only one that cares how far I take things. I'm actually gonna take a little bit of a break after I'm done with this gooping here. I need to wake up a little bit. Okay. Now, let's not forget to put the little rocks. We do have the magnet on them, okay. Yeah, you want to start on figures. Yep. You don't care if they get better? I do. I wanna like the guy that I do better than the guy before. Which that should probably be happening naturally, I would think, unless you're like, well, I'm gonna cut corners. All right. So that's where we're at. And we will see you guys on the next one. Enjoy your Sunday. Bye-bye.